Hello everyone, I am Xerix Lord Sentinel, and welcome back to Century of Economy 2019. Realizing that the Chariot of the Gods had been played incorrectly on the pirate turn, it was now played at the beginning of the Spanish turn, and was placed on the squid Intermediaro. The Spanish made plans to get a crew on the squid as soon as possible. With natural gold on their colony fort, the Spanish tasked El Raton to explore the island, in case of negative UTs. The Spanish were right to be cautious, with the Raton finding rats, but also the Necklace of the Sky. With the resource change, the Spanish once again focus on metals and Pride Rock, but are also setting up a chain exploring system on the finished goods site of Split Island. At the end of their turn, the Spanish bring on Diego Cesar Olano and plan to place him onto Intermediaro. The Cursed are happy with the resource change and are bringing back spices from Hidden Cove Island. The English also covet this island. Will this lead to conflict between the two? The Americans move ships around and form a plan of action, launching the Saratoga from Revolution with a captain, helmsman, firepot specialist, cannoneer, and musketeer. The Yankee with Carl Smith, captain, helmsman, and musketeer, from the trading port at Kanohi Island. They also launched the Dark Fox at the trading port on Pyramid Island, with intent to have the ship take on the tribal chieftain from the Providence. The Americans have begun colonizing the Gold Island behind Pyramid, despite pressure from the English. As a result of this pressure, they have also launched the Bonhomme Richard with linked crew John Paul Jones, a captain, helmsman, cannoneer, and oarsman. The pirates make a logistical error with the Lacan II, moving her away from the home island. However, the Cursed Blade and Cassandra have brought back some valuable metals, and the Rising Sun is repaired after her trip over the reef, with Havana ready to come back and command the ship. Elsewhere, the pirates have upgraded their colony to level 4, making it a launch point for them. Pirate operations in and at Voyanui. The Deliverance is still stuck from her finding of rum, while the Amity is slowed by metal hull, but is preparing to ghost through the arms of Voyanui. Meanwhile, the Skipping Stone is repaired and the Lady Scorn is on approach to Tutorial Island. Overall, the pirate presence is quite strong. It would take a serious gunship squadron to challenge them in the bay. The Dark Hawk II sails southwest, heading for the Whirlpool by the northern portal. She intends to come out of the Whirlpool in Voyanui Bay and make her way home from there. In a stunning move to the Cursed, the English place a town upgrade on Hidden Cove, thus cutting off access to the Cursed and ensuring that only the English can load spices from the island. The English have a trading port token on the way to the island as well. On top of that, the English expand their gunships, launching the HMS Richards and HMS Burma from Fort Brompton on the western portal, and in close proximity to the American colony. The French La Argus has been caught in a storm. She rolls a 1 but is as good as doomed. Elsewhere, the French risk becoming entangled in Sargasso in their efforts to trade with the Spanish and gather valuable resources for themselves. The Lee Blue trades for stored metals now, instead of the island's naturally produced medicine. The Spanish have acquired more gold than any faction in campaign game history, using the real-life penny to represent 1,000 gold. The 2 face-down silver grey coins are each worth 100 times their printed value, giving the Spanish close to 2,000 gold they could spend. The Americans spent a turn setting it up, and with some fleet action help have stormed across the gap and blockaded the pirate trading port. The Yankee, Saratoga, and Swift Victory all docked at the island and declared hostilities. The other Saratoga crossed the stern of the Golden Medusa and opened fire in an attempt to wound the pirate fleet Admiral Lafitte. The other Saratoga has knocked a mast off of the Princess on her way to docking at the trading port. On top of that, the Constitution and Ghostwalker set the cursed blade aflame and knocked off her remaining masts, dooming the pirate schooner. An extra action later, the USS Spirit has also docked at and blockaded the pirate trading port. Like her sister clipper ship, she loads up to her cargo space in metals. On the pirate turn, the Princess flees into the fog and the Neptune's horde comes around, taking the sternmost mast off of the Saratoga, while the Golden Medusa flees from the American gunships. While the Medusa could stand and fight, she would be outnumbered quite severely. The pirates tried desperately to get the cursed blade home, but none of their fleet admirals came through, and the best the pirates could do was move her away from the American gunships. Across the sea, the Raven's Neck, Lady Scorn, and Harbinger all fly into action and make full sail toward the Americans, with the Neck managing to take the stern mast off of the Bellevue, where Admiral Preble resides. In the background, the Harbinger has abandoned her station as guard of Voyanui Bay and makes sail for the Americans. The Dark Hawk II emerges from the Whirlpool in Voyanui Bay. She has a hold of valuable gold from her gold island, but may be forced into a gunship roll with the pirates caught flat-footed by the American attack and blockade. With more gold from the home island, the pirates upgrade their colony to the max level of 5. The Banshee's Cry sails away from the American gunships and blockade to the shipwreck pathway, seeking safety in numbers at the colony. The Durham backs away from the American colony in potential conflict, and makes way for 2 much more capable ships to fill her place. The English are not pleased by the actions of the Americans, but negotiations between the leaders of the 2 factions, Christian Pike for the Americans, Thomas Gunn III for the English, have averted open conflict. The Argus sinks in the storm at the start of the French turn. At the end of their turn, the French spend some gold and launch 3 dedicated gunships. The Première République from Dark Tides, with Capitaine Francois Moriot, also from Dark Tides, a helmsman and oarsman from their home island. The Aube, with a captain, helmsman, Guintier de la Barbina, and an oarsman from Saint-Pierre. The Notre Dame, with Bernice Savage, Jacques Duc de Valois, a helmsman and oarsman from the trading port on Triangle Island. Spanish ships sail to and from their home island, Pride Rock, and sometimes the Archway, as the Spanish acquire even more metals and continue to cash them in as soon as they arrive, adding to their ever-expanding war chest. The Kurds dock home their ships with spices and think about what to do next. The Americans retaliate against the pirates, with the Concord and Saratoga teaming up to set the Neptune's Horde on fire and eliminate her bow mast. The Swift Victory and Spirit take advantage of their speed and a handy trade current to move back to Kanohi Island and unload their stolen metals. The American plan becomes clear: blockade the pirate trading port with multiple ships, and use gold runners to get metals to keep up in the ocean-wide arms race. The Bonhomme, Richard, and Atlanta are diverted from their posts to defend the American fleet admirals, who have fled around to the far side of Pyramid. The Raven's Neck is down to her last mast, and while the Scorn may be eternal, taking on 2 capital ships is above what the ship can realistically do. The Atlanta is given a fleet action and pulls broadside to the Scorn, and takes off her stern mast. On a turn when all other fleet admirals came through, the Americans had 4 fleet actions to give out. With 1 already given to the Atlanta, 2 more were given to the Swift Victory and Spirit, who docked back at the pirate trading port and loaded more metals. To end their turn, the Americans spent a good chunk of gold and gunships to reinforce their position at the shipwreck pathway. The USS Jackson, with Walter Willie Wilson from Dark Tides, a helmsman, musketeer, firepot specialist, and oarsman. The USS Albany, with Commodore Jasper Green from Dark Tides, a helmsman and sack food. The USS Kettering, with a captain, helmsman, cannoneer, and oarsman. The Intrepid, with a captain, helmsman, cannoneer, exploding shot, and oarsman. All launched from the trading port at Kanohi Island. The USS Concordia, with Judith Gray from Dark Tides, Shayna Dew, a helmsman, cannoneer, and oarsman. USS Franklin, with a captain, helmsman, firepot specialist, cannoneer, and oarsman. Both launched from the trading port at Pyramid Island, giving the Americans a stronger presence in the North Sea, and more capable ships to combat either the pirates or the English. The Deliverance was no longer under the influence of rum, and so explored Voinui again, finding a sunken treasure that was worth 5 gold, and was immediately UPS to the Song, who unloaded it with Jenny Gallows and its own ability, giving it +3 to its gold value. The Cassandra, Lacan II, Rising Sun, Coral, and White Rose are all grounded, and watch as the cursed blade succumbs to fire just off the coast of the island. The pirates spent some of their gold to counter the American launches. Undamaged Black Pearl with Griffin, Gunner, Cotton, and Marty. The Ranger with a captain, helmsman, and cannoneer. The Carnage with linked one-handed John from Return of Davy Jones. The Requin, re-rolling David Bones Wiley, a cannoneer, a helmsman, and oarsman from their military port on Tutorial Island. Damaged Black Pearl with a captain, helmsman, cannoneer, and firepot specialist. The Black Diamond with a captain, helmsman, cannoneer, and musketeer from their home island. The English began to form a defensive line with the Burma and Richards, just in case of American aggression and a pirate incursion. The English launched the HMS Leicester from the docks at Hidden Cove, the most able gunship in their fleet so far. The Spanish chain exploring is much more impressive than the pirate chain, but it is not a perfect system yet, as cargo on some ships needs to be juggled around. The Spanish gold fleet has and continues to operate completely uninterrupted, as ships gather metals from Pride Rock. The Buscador is the end of the chain for the finished goods island. The Spanish have strung together as many ships with at least 6 cargo as they could to make this chain. American gunships get a glimpse of the Spanish operations as they engage the pirates, with the Constitution setting the Golden Medusa aflame and also taking the bow and stern masts off of the foresight. The Saratoga has tried and failed to set the Sea Nymph on fire, and has been assisted by the Ghost Walker in taking off 2 of the Nymph's masts. The Kettering, Jackson, and Intrepid all hover around the shipwreck pathway to provide additional security to the American operations. The Horde has joined the Princess in the fog, and is hoping to escape soon and dodge the American gunships on a break for home. American gold runners grab the stolen metals from Kanohi Island and make for home with them. The Albany guards over Kanohi Island, while in the background the President comes around the southern point of Pyramid, passing the Providence, now a gunship, while the Bellevue has ducked into the fog to escape from the pirates. The Franklin and Concordia positioned themselves to defend the fledgling colony and the ships building it, along with the Frontier, who has explored the colony island, finding cursed natives. Gunner succeeded at his SAT role with help from Griffin, and shot across the ocean to pull broadside to the Atlanta, and went 4 for 4 to take 2 masts off of her. Then Blackheart sacked an explorer to zoom across the ocean, crossing the stern of the Atlanta, and getting some cannons in range of the Bonhomme Richard. Despite her good cannons, the Harbinger only managed to knock 1 mast off of the Atlanta, and Grim the Savage on the Collector missed his shot on the Bonhomme Richard. The Sea Nymph rams into the Saratoga and fires all cannons, but misses. Her ram takes out the 3rd mast on the Saratoga, and the ensuing boarding party is a tie, with no tangible results. The Golden Medusa has docked at the colony, extinguishing her flames, but the American gunships are still near and the Medusa is vulnerable. The colonizer fleet makes for home. Some of the ships are large enough and have decent enough cannons that they can be converted into gunships in a scrape, such as this one. The Deliverance found natives, which will freeze her for 4 turns. The London sails astern of the Carnage and lets loose with all cannons. However, she misses enough times to not eliminate a mast from the pirate gunship. The London is backed up by the Forge, who along with an extra from the London is able to take the Carnage down to 1 mast and a fire mast. The English do not want any conflict in their waters, and are upset that the Americans have brought their war into English territory. As such, the English retaliate against both the Americans and the pirates, with the Burma and Richards engaging the Franklin and Concordia. However, the English have a poor afternoon on the cannons, as only the Concordia loses a mast. The Durham sails in to try and add her cannons to the fray, but is unable to bring any into range. A dismal display of firepower leads the English to launching, putting the HMS Pride into the water, with Lord Cutler Beckett, and the RMS Micron, with linked crew Commodore William Cobb, both launched at the docks at Hidden Cove. They also launched the HMS Gallows from Fort Brompton. A storm moves north and catches the Princess and Neptune's horde in the fog. The Princess is sunk instantly, and the horde loses 2 masts. The Americans sink the Doom Box, after the Ghost Walker cancels the flotilla keyword. The Saratoga sets the Nymph aflame. The pirates try and give the Americans a taste of their own medicine, with the Rising Sun, Cassandra, Black Diamond, and Black Pearl all sailing toward Kanohi Island. The Sun got the jump on the Albany and has eliminated 2 masts from the ship. However, Jasper Green sacked an oarsman and managed to eliminate a mast from the Sun. The Intrepid has failed to eliminate a mast from the Cassandra, and her exploding shot has backfired. The Jackson has managed to eliminate a mast from the Black Pearl, but has not managed to damage the Diamond. The Speedy Return does not have a captain, but her double catamaran keyword makes her a difficult target to hit, and lends herself as a block ship to keep the pirates from making land at Kanohi. American ships and canoes make for home, streaming away from Kanohi with lumber and metals left by the clipper ships. At the end of their turn, the Americans spend most of their gold to launch 4 capital ships. The Revolution Constitution, with Ocean's Edge Montana Mays, Connie Marsh from Dark Tides, Chancellor Turner, World Hater Chief Poe, and Ralph David. The Black Watch, with Admiral Nathan Rivers from Fiends of the Blood Islands, the captain, and helmsman with oarsmen from Pyramid Island. The Enterprise with Jonathan Harridan, Commander Albert Crenshaw, a helmsman, cannoneer, shipwright, and oarsman. The Thomas Jefferson, with Commodore Peregrine Stern, a helmsman, double shot, and cannoneer from their home island. Abandoning the Americans, the pirates focus on the English, with the Ranger, Black Pearl, and Harbinger bearing down on the London, managing to derelict the English ship. Elsewhere, the pirates fought back against the Americans, with the Cassandra and Rising Sun fleeing the scene and opening the way for the Black Pearl and Black Diamond. The Intrepid is down to 1 mast, and the Jackson has been given a fire mast. The Destiny's Bounty docks home and is given a captain, cannoneer, and musketeer, while the Grand Barnacle has nowhere to dock. English leave the Americans be and retaliate against the pirates, with the Durham sailing to intercept the carnage, and derelicts the ship, while the Gallows takes 2 masts off of the Ranger and the Richards takes a mast off of the Harbinger. The Forge sinks the Carnage, but so long as there is a captain on her, she is eternal and simply reappears at the pirate home island. The Forge is given an extra action, taking the London under tow, and setting the Harbinger alight in the process. At the end of their turn, the English launched the RNS Bloodpatch from Fort Brompton at the portal. The Notre Dame uses an extra action from Bernice Sauvage to dock at the northern portal, and prepares to explore. The proximity to the Cursed is worrying, but they have docked all of their ships home and have not given them actions for several turns now. At the end of their turn, the French launch a small squadron of empty Corsair ships from their trading port on Triangle Island. A storm almost catches the Bellevue and makes the Americans exceedingly nervous and momentarily panic. The Spanish are clearly the faction to beat, with their impressive gold fleet and unprecedented spending power. However, is there any single faction that could hope to stand up to them, should they decide to march down the warpath? After several turns of inactivity, the Cursed launch Flying Dutchman with Ocean's Edge Jones, a captain and helmsman. The Executioner with Linked El Phantasma, a captain, helmsman, and cannoneer. The Skinflayer with Sammy the Skull and Linked White Crew, a helmsman, firepot specialist, and oarsman. The Scorpion with captain, helmsman, cannoneer, musketeer, and oarsman. The Sickle with captain, helmsman, and gunner. The Chum Maker with a captain, helmsman, and gunner. The King Jones from Return of Davy Jones with a captain, helmsman, firepot specialist, and oarsman. The Phantom from Return of Davy Jones with linked Captain Shamshear, a helmsman, 3 cannoneers, and an oarsman. The American capital ships begin to get into action, with May succeeding at his SAT on his first turn, and getting the Constitution on the front lines of the fight against the pirates. Though the Constitution was not able to get any meaningful shots in, she was joined and supported by the Blackwatch and Enterprise, both of which succeeded at their respective extra actions. Complementing them is the USS Kettering, who has taken the damaged Black Pearl down to 1 mast. The Bellevue exits the fog and flees from the destructive power of nature, and looks to join up with Rogers on the President. The Americans have gotten their colony to level 4, making it a launch point for them, but the cursed natives on the island will be problematic. The Frontier has begun to head for home, and the Concordia is coming in to repair the colony. At the end of their turn, the Americans launched the USS Oregon, with Christian Jefferson Esquire, at their colony, specifically to get rid of the cursed natives. The pirates pulled their gunships from the active combat lines, and at the end of their turn launched Seleucus, Ophidius, Teach, Shai Hulud, Kadara, and the Flying Dutchman with Crimson Coast Jack Hawkins, Anna Maria, Murat Reis, One-Eyed Bennett from Dark Tides, the cannoneer and oarsman, all from Voyanui and Tutorial Island. With the pirate retreat, the English feel emboldened, but are still cautious and wary of what the pirates can do. The French have the Premier Republique explore the Gold Island next to the northern portal, and find the Pirate Codex, which removes all face-up UTs in play. Almost 24 UTs were removed from play, including Nemo's plans on the frontier, Elizabeth's Peace of Eight from the Dark Pact, and a metal hull from the Amity. This had major implications for factions and some of their short-term strategies and plans. The French Corsair Squadron loads up on finished goods. The French begin to make a plan to imitate the pirates in Spanish and build a chain explorer system with the hired Corsairs. The French end their turn by building the Bastille Fort from Fiends of the Blood Islands on the northern portal, which will allow them to travel freely between any of the other portals in play. And that wraps up this report. Conflict has finally broken out, with the pirates and Americans openly fighting, with some skirmishes with the English on the side. The Spanish are still the favorites to win the whole thing, and the curse continues to baffle everyone, as they have not yet given their new battle fleet any actions yet. If you want to see what happens next, make sure you're subscribed. If you liked what you saw, hit that like button. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.